Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new City of Columbus Vendor Services. Today, we'll take a quick tour of the new vendor service portal and provide some options for vendors doing business with the City of Columbus. This is the landing page for the new City of Columbus Vendor Services. You'll note that we have some announcements or a space where announcements can be posted. We'll also be displaying open requests for quotations as well as closed requests for quotations. If you need to get help, select help from the top upper right-hand corner, and we'll provide a variety of ways that you can get answers to your questions or gain assistance from the City of Columbus. The next thing I'll do is go ahead and log in and show the features that are available to registered vendors. So you'll notice this is our UAT environment today that we're demoing in. However, these are the 6 options or the 6 features that are available for vendors. I'm going to start with vendor information by selecting. On the left-hand side, you'll notice the name of the company, as well as the primary address and email address identified for this account, as well as phone number. If I'd like to view more information about my vendor or make updates, I can select more details and select general. When I select general, it will bring up a variety of tabs for my company. The first being name, number of employees, and information regarding if you're locally owned, small business, women owner, minority owner, etc. The next tab will display my business's addresses where I can add or update them as necessary. You'll notice in this particular vendor, we have a business address as well as a remit to address. The third tab contains contact information. In this case, I have a phone number, fax, and an email address for this vendor. This information can be edited by selecting Edit Contact Information and then updating the phone numbers or email address accordingly. The next thing I'll do is select on the Business tab. And the Business tab does contain my federal tax ID. However, you will notice that you cannot change anything on this particular tab. It is viewable only. The next tab is called Categories. The following list are the categories that I have registered for as City of Columbus services. Therefore, whenever the city issues an RFQ requesting any of the items in the categories I have registered for, I'll receive automatic email notification to the primary contact information we just looked at to notify me that there's an opportunity with the city that I might be interested in. And we'll show you how to update those in just a second. The last tab I want to mention is the Certification tab. Certification tab is going to display any certification that you have with the City of Columbus. In this particular case, I can see that I have a certification number CC04613, and it's associated with contract compliance. To leave vendor information, I always want to go into this upper right-hand corner and select this X. And you'll notice that behavior throughout the new vendor portal. So now I've returned to the base information, vendor information. I can either hit the X again to go back to the main screen, or I can explore a few more things. So we'll notice here in the middle, vendor contact information shows 2 names. So these are the 2 individuals that are currently registered for this company. If your company has more than 2 individuals, you'll see them in the list below. The other thing I want to mention is categories. We talked about being able to maintain categories for the purpose of notifications with the city. So you'll see here, this list provides all the categories I'm currently registered for. So say, for example, I no longer offer onion skin paper and I want to remove that so I no longer receive notifications. I'm going to go ahead in this expiry date field. I'm going to enter in today's date. And then I'm going to select the category that I no longer want to receive notifications for, and I'm going to say expire. So the system will keep track of the categories you were registered for, when they became effective, and when they expired. So in this particular case, I will no longer receive vendor notifications when the city is searching for onion skin paper. The same is true for add category. You can add additional categories to your list as well. So I'm going to go ahead and close the screen, and I'm going to return to my main menu. The next thing that I want to show is vendor payments. So I'm going to select vendor payments. And this tab provides a way to look at payments provided to the vendor and also those that have been approved for payment but not yet paid. In this particular case, I don't have any approved that are pending payment. However, I can see that I do have one payment that was made 7/13/2020 and provided the check number. And if I scroll to the right, then I'll see the amount as well. So this is a great reference for vendors to be able to look up and check payments received by the City of Columbus. The next tab we'll look at is invoicing. So while the City of Columbus does not allow vendors to submit vendor invoices via the portal yet, vendor invoices is a great dashboard to look at what's pending with the City of Columbus. You'll notice there are 4 tiles over on the left-hand side, and I can see that I have one invoice that has been submitted but not yet approved for payment. And then I also see that I have one that's been paid. In the center here, I can select submitted, not approved. And I can see that the invoice demo 1 has been submitted but not yet approved by the city. And my payment, therefore, is not yet been sent by the city. There's also a tile on the left called approved, not paid. If this one says 0 right now, but if we had any that had been approved and are pending payment by the city, those would show up in this list as well. So this allows the vendor to look up this information on their own rather than having to contact a city resource and get adequate payment information so they know when to expect payments from the city. I'm going to go ahead and close out of here, hitting the X in the upper right-hand corner, and I'm going to go to contract compliance. So vendors are required to have contract compliance and go through a recertification every 2 years. Going to the contract compliance tab, you'll be able to see the past questionnaires that you have completed, as well as actually start a new one. Vendors typically receive notification 30 to 60 days prior to contract compliance certification expiration. At that point, they can come into the vendor service portal, select complete questionnaire, and they'll be presented the contract compliance questionnaire as well as the questions that we'll ask. This way, you're able to gather up information necessary to complete your questionnaire without having to stop in the middle and return. To complete the questionnaire, simply hit start and follow the on-screen instructions. The next thing that we'll take a look at are purchase order confirmations. When the city issues a purchase order, we will send an email with a PDF version of the purchase order attached. In addition, vendors can log into vendor services and look at open confirmed purchase orders through this menu option. To obtain further detailed information, simply click on the purchase order. Oh, and I apologize, I wanted to click here first. So click Open Confirm Purchase Orders, and then select the purchase order number and select Show. Selecting Show will display the detailed information for the purchase order itself. in this case, printing a quantity of 6,420. So I'll go ahead and close out of here. And you can do this for each of the purchase orders that's displayed. The last thing that we'll look at today is also probably the most robust feature on Vendor Service Portal, and that's for vendor bidding. So I'm going to go ahead and select vendor bidding. And then I get quite a bit of information that is displayed. So if we look on the left-hand side, new bid invitations, it shows 6. New bid invitations are RFQs that I have received notification via email for because I'm registered for a procurement category that the city is currently trying to procure. So if you receive an email notification, those will always appear here. And then if we look in the center, this grid gives some more detailed information as well. So we can see that computer monitors, PPE supplies, HVAC maintenance, uniform rental, these are all open requests for quotations that I have been invited to respond to. In addition, on the left-hand side, I also can see bids that are currently in progress. Bids in progress means you've started to bid, you may have entered some pricing, you may have attached some documentation. However, it was not submitted as final to the City of Columbus. So I can very easily select bids in progress, and the system will display those items that remain. And at this point, I can select the request for quotation bid number, and I can view the details of the bid itself. So this one happens to be for cleaning and janitorial supplies. While we're here, I'm going to go ahead and bid. Bidding is very simple. I'm just going to go up to the top and select bid, which is going to make this request for quotation editable for me. So I can scroll down to the line area. I can see that we're looking for a quantity of 52 each. I've entered in a unit price of $75 before I saved it previously. I'm going to go ahead and drop that to 70. It's going to calculate the net amount for me. I can put in some comments. And I can also scroll even lower and I can expand the line details. And when I expand the line details, you'll notice that, again, I can see my unit price, the item description. Here's my comment that I entered with a little bit more room, so we can add in some extra detail there if we want, with a little bit more space to be able to read. I can also enter in lead time. So if my lead time is 15 days, I can enter in, I can enter in 15. I can indicate that that's working days. And that gives the city a better idea of when this item will be available. The other thing that I might want to do is add an attachment. So at the top, I'm going to select bid attachments. I, as the vendor, am bidding, so I want to add a bid attachment. From here, I would just select new. I can type in a description if I want. And then I can browse my local computer and select the proper PDF file. Once the file is uploaded, I'll see it display in my list here. And now my document is attached. And I can go ahead and close out of this window. So I've now entered my pricing. I've added a bid attachment. And I'm going to go ahead and I have two options. I can either save, which will leave this in bids in progress, or I can go ahead and submit. When I submit, the system's going to let me know that I do have the ability to recall and update this bid up until the point that the bid closes. I'm going to go ahead and say yes to submit my bid. And the system is going to come back after submittal and it's going to say that my bid has been successfully submitted. So let's go back to our dashboard and see what that looks like. So in the middle here, return bids, bids in progress. So we'll notice now that this should be blank because I submitted my bid. It's no longer in progress. And if I look at submitted bids, I'm now going to see that item has been submitted. Additional things that you can do, outside of looking at all the bids you were specifically invited for, you can also view all open RFQs for the city. At the top, the header, it will give some basic information such as the RFQ number, the requesting department, the document title, which should be a brief summary of what we're requesting, as well as an expiration date. If you select on the record, however, at the bottom, it will bring up line items that we're requesting. So this is a quick way to scroll through and review open RFQs with the City of Columbus. Additionally, from a historical perspective, you can select on closed RFQs and review RFQs that have posted and closed and have been awarded by the city in the past as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and select my X's in the upper right-hand corner to return us to the home page. And we thank you for watching a brief overview of City of Columbus Vendor Services. We look forward to working with you.